Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko. Yeah, we're kind of post-Christmas now, and in between, points of New Year and 2019, so I guess this will quite possibly be the last commentary part ever uploaded in this decade, thing. Weird. But in any case, it's on to more Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko with all the mystery that is yet to tease us. And, I gotta say this right now, Mystery TV is by far one of my favourite stages in the entire game. Like, I mean, it perfectly captures this really... Again, I said as much in the review, but it really does capture the whole Sir Arthur Conan Doyle mixed in with a bit of, Bram Stoker's Dracula. And I wouldn't even say really just that, just a bunch of weird influences, as you are soon going to see with one of the missions. I don't really know what it is, it's, I'll point it out when we get to it, but I mean, you know, you have secret passageways, you have... a bunch of different objectives, one of which is technically borrowed from Gex Enter the Gecko in the sense you have to smash a couple of blood coolers. I mean, I will say it's a lot more fitting around here than it was in Gex 3D Enter the Gecko because, well, you know, Gex is a vampire transformation, which we'll be seeing at the end of the part. But again, a lot of this earlier part of the video is mainly just going to be spent searching for fly coins, just to generally show you the sort of tedium that you'll be in for when trying to get these fly coins. Again, I said as much in the review. They're not terrible, they're just... Again, it really depends on the level, really, because, I mean, in levels like this, you can find them with relative ease. They do stick out from the environment because they're, you know, they're quite bright, whereas everything around here is very darkly atmospheric with bits and pieces of lighting here and there. So really, it just boils down to the fact that some levels do a better job of it than others. I'm probably going to be cutting a lot of that down to size in future parts, since, you know, as you will soon see here under the previous part, I am cutting these down quite a bit. But yeah, not much of nice little nooks and crannies to hide through, and a bunch of secrets to discover. And again, it can't be understated how fucking beautiful the atmosphere is in this level. It is just... I don't know, man, more video games need to have this sort of, like, ancient sort of house sort of aesthetic to it. I can't really think of any other games that really captured it as well. Closest one I can think of is like a point-and-click game called Scratches, if anyone's played it. Like a weird little horror game. I do recommend it though, it is quite creepy. But yes, what is this? Teddy bears that are... or teddy bears, bloody wooden bear things that are alive? Well, not anymore because you can tail whip them. They are actually pretty dangerous though, and I don't know if it's just the hitbox kind of crapping out on me, but... yeah, be on your guard because they can... that sort of swipe has a lot more range than you might think, and well... it hurts. But besides bears coming to life, you also have these ancient hunter dudes who go, I say. But again, they really aren't that much of a threat. It's really the bears that you need to watch out for. But I mean, other than that, smooth sailing, really. I just can't get enough of this level, man. It is just so goddamn beautiful. And, again, if there is any benefit to showing all the fly coins, it means that I can give you a nice tour of these levels. Not just in terms of what you can see here, like, again, if you could see behind the mirror there, that was, you know, where you saw the fly coins. In that little, like, police double mirror kind of thing. It's cool. And as you can also see here, we also have visual cameos of previous bosses from the Gex series. That boss right on the right corner, that was actually the Ghost Girl that you fought in Gex 1. And of course, Mushu Pork, who is still here for some reason. I don't know if he was planned to be in the game or anything, but... I guess maybe just more so a reference-ish thing? Who knows, really. This little barcandid area, again, while these areas might not look like they have really much to do in them, well, you might notice that Gex is carrying a magnifying glass, and there is a magnifying glass symbol on the, well, specific set pieces, like the pool table just over there. Very interesting. Yeah, and that's a little thing I actually didn't figure out for a while, is that you could actually activate those TVs. Ah, wonderful. And again, that's how you know, gain access to some of the secrets. And this is a very secrets-intensive level, I must say, so... again, it does pay for you to explore around. But I suppose if I could dive into anything specific about this level in terms of, well, stuff that's interesting... I don't know, besides this general atmosphere. And again, excuse me. In general, that is honestly why I think Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko... it was a much more vibrant game compared to Gex 3D Enter the Gecko. The fact that it feels a lot more vibrant this time around. Again, and with a lot of the stuff that you see, you know, across the side of the walls, not just in terms of, you know, pictures of previous bosses, but Like, I mean, if you could see the placement over there that said choice cuts for Gex, you know, just a bunch of visual humor like that, it just makes me smile, man. But in any case, I don't know what it is about the lighting, really. It's just so... Again, I brought it up in the review, and I don't know if the lighting is just painted on, like, as part of the textures, which is a sort of technique that they also kind of use for, like, 3DS games, like, that are trying to be 3D. But, I mean, the lighting here just looks beautiful, man. I don't think the PS1 era really had much in terms of lighting engines, but, I mean, with water effects like that, I mean... I don't know, man. I can believe it. Again, I am honest, like, again, it might look very stock standard now, but I mean, I am very impressed with the way in which they got lighting to be rendered across stuff like that body of water over there. I don't know, man. It's just... I mean, say what you will about Crystal Dynamics, but I think one thing that they've kind of always been good at in terms of, you know, their video games is their visual direction, which, again, it looks good. It's such a shame that they don't create many original games of their own anymore, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess. Well, I mean, I even say that though, but like, I mean, even the modern day Tomb Raider games that they've been developing, they still look, you know, pretty up to snuff. I don't know. Some things you will, some things you won't, I guess. Anyway, in terms of the maze portion here, there's not really too much to worry about. Like, I mean, it is quite labyrinthian, but it kind of goes in like a sort of circle pattern. Like, I mean, while there are a few nooks and crannies to get, you know, fly coin power-ups or the bloody, you know, health packs or anything else, you know, you should find your way around it pretty easily. It's just more of a circle with a few nooks and crannies here and there. I'm kind of repeating myself, so I apologise. And the music. Again, I commented as much in the review, but this is just perfectly suiting the atmosphere, man. It is honestly one of my favourite tracks in the game. Then I think also, again, I keep on bringing up the lighting time and time again, but I really do mean it. Like, the way things are lit up here is just nice. And again, you might see the TV over there, that is for one of the second or third objectives. You're not exactly going there just yet because, well, there's a little hidden switch that we need to activate to complete the Blood Cooler objective. So again, I suppose it could also come into the, I guess, process of level length, in the sense that what sort of levels are long in Gex 3 and what ones can you complete with relative ease. And again, also by proxy of the fact that, you know, you have level selections and you can kind of complete these levels by your own volition, depending on what you choose to complete. Because, I mean, like I mentioned before, you don't need all the remotes to access, you know, Rez's final boss fight. You only need a set amount, and after that, well, you can kind of skip which levels you think are bullshit and which ones aren't. I mean, again, I mentioned this much with the Mythology Network, but you can feasibly just do a bunch of other missions and completely skim over that bullshit level entirely. But again, in terms of completing the objectives for Mystery TV specifically, they're all relatively, you know, fun sort of collectathon platformer kind of stuff. All of that, and you're also treated to a very beautiful looking level, so what's not to love? I'll tell you what's not to love. Pineapples. Don't really have much of a remark to say there. Again, I think the only real tedium you'll really be finding with a lot of these levels is if you go out of your way to, you know, get the 100 fly coins, which is admittedly more of a strain that you would put on yourself, rather than, you know, anything else. And yeah, that's what that switch activates. I kind of lost track of time a little bit there. But yes, indeedy, once we get the Dracula power-up, it kind of... like, I suppose one other point of criticism you could probably put to Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko is that with a lot of the power-ups that you do get in the game, a lot of them are used generally for the same sort of use. I mean, you have strength power-ups, like, well, with one in the Mythology Network, da-na-na-na, and of course with the gliding power-ups, which, again, you'll get with the Dracula outfit here, you'll get with the Red Riding Hood outfit, you'll get for a later level in the game, and with the little Gundam suit that Gex gets in the anime channel. I don't know. One thing I will say is that it's at least aesthetically a little bit different, so it suits the levels even if the power-ups are limited in scope. Yes, indeed, Alfred. Again, I mean, this power-up isn't too bad. I guess maybe if I was to really nitpick, I would have rather liked maybe a few other, like, additional abilities that might have been, I don't know, there to make the costumes a little bit more unique to each level. I can't really name specifically what I would do for it. I guess... I'm not really too sure what I'd do for the vampire one. I suppose perhaps, like... I don't know. I'm not entirely sure, I guess maybe that's why Crystal Dynamics couldn't really think of one. Yeah, I totally didn't edit that, and if anyone tells you otherwise, well, they can shut up. I don't know, like maybe the ability to transform into a bat, even though I think that possibly might have been ripping off Conker's Bad Fur Day. Actually, no, that came out in 2001, so yeah, Gex could have gotten away with it. I don't know, just little stuff like that I think honestly would have tipped the balance in the scales and, you know, made the game feel a little bit unique. But yeah, with the longest objective out of the way, things should be pretty good. I don't know why I always feel the need to salute during that little trumpeting segment. But yeah, this is the second objective. We're not going to be wasting too much time on this one because it's basically get to the end of the maze. You've seen the maze, and, well, you know where it is. So, after Gex's quote, we're going to be teleporting. I said teleporting, there we go. Just avoid the bear. Again, you might not be seeing it here, but I swear to God, man, the swipe attacks are dangerous as fuck. Now, this is where the mission gets a little bit more interesting. Basically, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using that there magnifying glass to, well, shrink down and transport ourselves to worlds unknown. I don't know if this is just something that Crystal Dynamics invented for the game itself, or if this was, like, actually based on some sort of literature that I have no idea about. Unless, of course, there's a Sherlock Holmes book where he uses a magnifying glass to shrink down to size and do some stuff. I mean, considering the fact that some of the books were well, I don't know if it was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle or Sherlock Holmes himself who solved the cases on cocaine, but this could have been one of them. Like, maybe a fever dream after he went through withdrawal symptoms. Whatever. The point is, we basically have to shrink down onto this head in a very creative sort of way where we get some interesting level set pieces as we crawl around on this taxidermist bear head. And basically have a time limit to kill these fleas. I don't know what Alfred calls them. I think he calls them, like, baggots? Beggars? I'm not too sure what he calls them. But, yeah, we kill these fleas, get a bonus coin, and, well, it's all good in the hood. Again, you gotta complete this before time runs out, obviously, because if that happens, well, you return to normal size and gotta do it over again. But, I mean, in terms of being a unique, you know, sort of level to start off with, it's actually pretty sweet. And again, this isn't the only one. We do have another unique one coming quite soon. And yeah, we just return to normal size. I don't know if you get anything for doing it a second time. I'd presume not, but I don't know. Could be interesting, I suppose. I say... Again, I'm gonna keep on saying this again. I can't get enough of the static effect that you have in the enemies. And not all the enemies do it. Like, I mean, the bear will just kind of disappear into, like, a sparkle of, like, fireworks or whatever, but... I don't know, man. The static effect they added to some enemies dying is just... I don't know. It fits the aesthetic, even though I think if Gex was made in this day and age, they probably wouldn't have the static effects, because that was really more of a thing with analog TV, and we don't really have that anymore. Well, I mean, I still have one that's locked deep in the shed, but you know what I mean. So yeah, they're all generally the same sort of hit the thing to destroy the thing, but they all kind of vary in aesthetical value. Like, I mean, here it's basically destroy the bubbles and rise up for air if you need it. Plus, you know, the fact that you also have a couple of hidden goodies here and there, like, you know, the paw coins and all that, does make it worth your while to go out of your way to get these coins, so, you know, do it at your discretion. And unlike, you know, the space missions from 3D Enter the Gecko, I will say that this is a much better way to handle the air meter, in the sense that, you know, you can actually just rise to the surface and get it refilled instantly. You know, a lot better than having to wait for it in a space capsule. Yeah, but whatever. Also, I just figured out that they reused those bubbles from Gex 3D Enter the Gecko. Oh well, that's one way to reuse your assets, I guess. And now we go off to the bar room, where we shrink down and destroy some billiards. And now I feel in the mood to play some pool. I suppose I'll probably get the ability to do it whenever family meets up, I suppose, because some of my family have a pool table. And I would love to use it at my own discretion, because pool is fun. I'm not very good at it, but I mean, I enjoy it. Then again, I suppose it's more so just because it has that sort of whole leisurely sort of, like, beer and barbecue sort of vibe to me. I don't know, I have fun with it. Yeah, also for some reason the balls harm you. I don't really know why. I don't think... Oh, well, I mean, considering Gecko's size, I can see them being heavy, but... Come on, man. It's not that terrible. But alas, the prize is ours. Yeah, and also Alfred tends to, like, praise Gex throughout the game. I don't know why, but that's just kind of encouraging. I don't know, he's just like your faithful butler, man. Like, I mean, if a Gex Forest ever happened, I want Alfred to come back. He's nice. Everybody needs a butler, a faithful servant to help us go through daily life. Farewell, maggot woman. I can't quite remember her boss name. Anyway, enjoy the cutscene with Agent Extra, and I'll take a drink of the Pepsi.
Well, Sherlock, you found a good use for that magnifying glass.
Thank you, my dear Extra. Now, what do you say you and I solve the case of the lovesick lizard?
Not a chance, cutie. But hang on to that lens, just in case you run into any lady geckos.
I don't know what the hell they were really thinking with that. Again, this is really just what Agent Extra and Gex's cutscenes really amount to. It's just, hey Extra, would you like to have intercourse with me? Nope, but, well, keep on rescuing me. Bye. And again, by looking at the picture, which isn't something that's immediately obvious, but again, if you hold down the triangle button and you look at the picture, then Gex will transform into the vampire form, and you can use that all throughout the Gex Cave. Up until you go to some of the other areas of the game. We'll get into that a little bit next time, but yeah, for this area only, you get to transform into Count Gexula, Dracugex, I don't know. And here we're going to get to some of the secret missions. Now, they're hidden all around the specific hub worlds of the Gex Cave. This one in particular you access by, tail whacking these machines, and it will unlock a secret pathway. What it is, we will find out pretty soon. Kinda shocked I didn't get that remote earlier on, but then again I guess we just wanted to get to the game, because it was time to start the game now. But yeah, just tail whip this, and it shall be revealed to us. Yes, the little Mother Teresa thing, loaded with guns and all sorts of weird stuff. If we can see it. Come on, camera, don't make a liar out of me. Oh, I guess you will make a liar out of me.
It's payback time.
Thekrith! I love Thekrith! And yeah, as you can see there, you can come back to these levels and play as Rex and Cuz, as I mentioned in the review. And we have a level inspired by In Dragnet. How it really compares... Well, I mean, I will say this, the level is at least slightly bigger than what it was. And then I also think the parody advertisements this time around are a little bit funnier. Like, I mean, you'll have I'll Mug You, and you have, the little whorehouse advertisement right on the side of the building there, even if you can't really see it. Back alley surgeons that'll rearrange your face and fingers. And of course, we cannot forget our traditional, lovely aesthetic of the thank you dog. I have no idea what that says, but that's just what it sounds like to me. I really like this level, man. It's just gritty as hell, and I kind of wish this was more so expanded into a full level rather than the bloody superhero show, which kind of uses a similar sort of theme and aesthetics, both in terms of music and, like, style. And we also have that guy in the red shirt who was killed by an axe. He was there in, like, Enter the Gecko as well, so, like, what's this guy's story? Is he, like... was he a member of the development team? Was he that guy that sent that phony message to Metal and Canepa? The guy that got fired in, like, the development of the first Gex game? I don't know, maybe he could have died when Crystal Dynamics fired him, and that's why they don't make any more Gex games. But yeah, the purpose of these missions is basically to get all the fly coins, including attacking these birds that run around all over the shop. Can be pretty annoying to hit, but so long as you're on the ball you should be able to get them, no problem. And this is also the sort of mission where you can unlock secret movies, which, again, I might explain this at the beginning of the next part as well, but I will be showing off those secret movies in tandem with the levels that they were based on, so while you won't get them in those levels specifically, you can find secret little clapperboards in this mission, so it does make it worth your while to go out of your way if you just want some 90s FMV nostalgia, I guess. I don't know, they're fun. I don't know, I'm still lamenting the fact that we don't get to play these as, like, full-fledged levels. I think these honestly deserved it way more than... I don't want to say the Mythology Network, because, I mean, that level could have been really good too if they actually, bothered to playtest it and, give it a little bit more to it than what we got. What level would I replace it with? I have to get back to you on that one. Either way, if Gex Forest to happen, I really want these sorts of levels to be, part of its trio. But in that case, we're out of time for this week, so I'm Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and I will see you in 2020. Enjoy Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko, and I will see you later, dudes and dudettes. Bye-bye.